shit. I feel so starving now. Need to find something to eat. There's not enough time for me now. I hope that I can finish this addendum for the Foundation before I die. No, the damn thing doesn't allow me to die easily. It wants me to be its body. It's so disgusting. That's why I have to get back to the sea. I know he's still there, suffering and screaming. I still remember that moment. It happened yesterday, and I have no idea why it comes to me so slowly. We are Mobile Task Force Zeta-9er, the Mole Rats, conducted an investigation of SCP-835. At this time, SCP-835 had a mass of only 4 tons, and only one large polyp at the north end of the structure, designated Polyp Alpha, Polyp Bravo not yet being in existence. As per standard procedure, 4 team members were chosen for the mission. Standard isolation suits were worn by all 4 team members. A standard underwater remote vehicle, or URV, was used for the initial investigation. At first, SCP-35 did not act in a hostile manner towards the team, allowing team members to approach and make contact without incident. The URV was sent to investigate the exterior of the object, while 3 members of the team proceeded toward what we believe to be the entrance of the site. Corporal Wolf, the new member of the team, was ordered to remain outside and monitor the URV in order to ensure that the device's tether did not become tangled on the exterior protrusions. The first sign of trouble occurred when Corporal Wolf, while attempting to clear a jam in URV-1's sampling claw, reported in with the words, "Oh God, help me, help me." He then reported that some horrible tentacle thing had wrapped around his arm and was dragging him in towards a big mouth, and vocalized several distress calls. Oh no, he was just a kid. It was his first mission, and I should have kept my eye on him. So the thing grabbed the kid. It had me fooled to rights. The entrance wasn't an entrance. It was just some cave. The real entrance was the big polyp thing on the north end. It grabbed the kid, started dragging him towards the mouth. Topside started to drag him up, but all they got was a snapped cable. And the kid? He got pulled inside and eaten. God, I still remember him screaming. Screaming at us. He was crying. God, Lieutenant, it's eating me. Oh God, I don't want to die. I'm shouting at him to calm down. We're going to get him out of there. And then Topside tells us to abort. And they start the winches. I'm screaming at them to wait. I had his hand. I had him. I got the carabiner on. We're hooked together and Topside starts winching us up. And we're not getting anywhere. I'm grabbing on. I'm telling him I'm not going to let go. And then the winch starts to seize up. And I feel this jerk on the tether and it goes slack. And then we're both sliding into the damn thing. It was like, Jesus, I need another drink. Fuck. It was like, the only way I can think of it was like, you know that thing that doctors do when they stick a tube up someone's ass and have a look at their intestines? I saw that on TV once. It was like that, except I was going down the throat of some horrible underwater hell monster, not up some poor bastard's rear. There were these muscular contractions, I guess, and they were slowly sliding us down the length of the tube. If we weren't wearing the hard suits, we'd have been crushed. But as it was, we were held so tight we could barely move, even with power assist. I managed to get my head up enough to see the kid's face. His faceplate was covered in vomit. Poor bastard had puked in his suit. I started yelling for him, telling him to say something. He managed to tell me he was all right. He was sobbing like a baby. I started doing some calculations. Based on my dead reckoning tracker and initial sonar scans, we were moving about a meter every minute. That meant 72 hours until we came out the other side, assuming we did. We had the air. Our rebreathers could keep going for days. What we didn't have was the power to keep the suits warm for that long. If the heat went out, hypothermia would kill us. I don't know. Look it up. In any case, we'd be dead. We needed to conserve power. I told the kid to turn off his helmet lights, lock his joints, and turn on his heater to minimal. He started crying. He didn't want to do it. I didn't blame him, but I told him we had no choice. We finally agreed to shut down everything but our internal helmet lights at least. It seemed to calm him down, and honestly, that extra 0.1% power wouldn't really make a difference. I think that was the worst part. We spent at least a day like that, locked in our suits. Couldn't move our arms and legs. No sound but the things gurgling and your own breathing and the sound of your rebreather. The puke on the kid's faceplate started to dry up and flake off, and about an hour or so in, I could see his face. He looked tired and scared. I think it was about 13 hours in when the kid started talking again. He started babbling, apologized for stealing my underwear. He said it was just a prank. I smiled and did not get mad about that. He laughed too. I don't know what I would have done if we'd survived. Maybe we can be a couple after this. I don't know. It's all fucked up. We're all fucked up. Anyway, after that, he calmed down a lot. I told him to take a nap. He slept a bit, thank God. About 24 hours in, we reached, I guess they're calling it the stomach now. First warning sign was a gurgling kind of noise. Louder, with a crunching noise over it. I told the kid to bring his suit up to full power and get ready. A little while later, we fell out into this big chamber. Big as in big enough for the two of us to fit in it comfortably, which was huge compared to the tight squeeze of the tube. Kid's suit started hissing, and the outer shell started to turn all pitted and stuff. And I noticed my gloves were starting to degrade too, so I yelled at him to move, and we started heading towards this sphincter, I guess. I remember, God, why can't I remember this? The insides of the stomach were lined with teeth and faces, human faces, and they were all wailing at us and screaming. They were begging us to kill them. I almost lost it there. I started opening up with my gun, started shooting them in the heads, and if I'd stayed, my suit would have melted and I'd be dead. But the kid grabbed me and shoved me headfirst through the sphincter, and we fell into the other place. It was even worse than the stomach. That one that was lined with faces and filled with acid. This place was, well, you know what it was full of. I'm not squeamish. You can't be if you're a mole rat. But this place squicked me out so bad I almost passed out. The kid helped me back to my feet, though. Told me we were almost out. Come on, Lieutenant. We're almost out of here. Let's go, he said. We moved over to the other sphincter, but the thing was, well, it was puckered up tight, so no way we were getting out of there. We decided to wait for a bit until the thing shot its load, so to speak. If it made shit, it would have to spit us out eventually, right? Anyway, that's when things started to go bad. The kids started complaining about this awful smell. I tried to stay calm, told him it was probably his suit's waste recyclers. Told him to let me take a look at it. Yeah, there was a hole in the back of his leg, probably from the acid. I put a patch on it and told him not to worry about it. And that's where I noticed there was these red things growing all over his face. He started screaming when the first of them burst and splattered blood all over the inside of his faceplate. He begged me to kill him. I put my gun up to his faceplate and pulled the trigger. Click. I'd burned all my ammo trying to shoot those damn faces. The tentacles burst out of his face a moment after. It grabbed me, and it started attacking me. It grabbed me and pushed me down and tried to kill me, but it couldn't get through. Perhaps his mind was still there, trying to protect me. I managed to wrestle the thing that had once been the kid back through the sphincter into the stomach. Its tentacles writhed at me as it started to melt. He smiled. He told me he loved me before he died. I screamed and cried. Then SCP-835 blew its load, and I flew out its hole into the ocean. Finally, I escaped from that disgusting thing, but my suit didn't make it intact. It was breached. No one else noticed. I didn't even notice until I was in my room and changing clothes and I saw the red blotches all over my skin. So, yeah. I guess I'm fucked. I've got the room on lockdown right now. I'm gonna finish off my drink and take a couple Valium and go to bed. Don't bother trying to decontaminate the vessel, just abandon the entire ship. Evacuate everyone and scuttle it on top of the original site. I think the kid would like it that way. Now we can be together. Just like he always wanted. On a cold night, you're rushing home, and suddenly you see an old man sitting curled up on a bench. You wonder why an old man was sitting outside in such a cold night. Curiosity and compassion compel you to approach and start a conversation with him. You ask him why he still sits here in a late cold night. He replies wearily that he was lost, unable to return home because his eyes are blind. He also did not have any relatives at all. Looking at the man, who is the same age as your father, you feel sympathy for him. You ask if he is hungry and suggest to offer him a meal. The old man raises his face to show appreciation, revealing an intimidating face. You can see 2 black eye sockets that look hollow. He has no eyes. He doesn't feel hungry and begs you to take him home. Of course, you agree without hesitation. You and the old man chat comfortably during the walk home. After taking him to his house, you intend to say goodbye to him and go home. However, the man begs you to stay a while and have dinner with him because he feels so lonely. Although you are hesitant about it, you accept his invitation. It is strange that he cooks very well despite his blindness. Especially, the stew is delicious and unique. You've never eaten such a delicious dish. After the meal, you say goodbye to him and intend to leave, and suddenly, you get tired and fall asleep on the sofa. A moment later, you wake up and see a human figure in front of you. No, it is not the blind old man. It is a creature like a human, but tall, bizarre, and extremely frightening. It approaches you slowly. You struggle to get up, but your limbs are numb. Of course, that damned blind old man had put something in the food. The monster slowly opens its disgusting mouth on its stomach. It uses 2 long arms to shove you into its stomach. And now you know that escaping from this damned place is impossible, and accept a painful death in vain. That terrifying monster is SCP-957, a humanoid entity that currently resides in a home in Kentucky. This organism measures approximately 2 meters in height and 75 kilograms in weight and appears to be devoid of internal organs, as observed via a large opening on its ventral torso. Furthermore, it does not appear to require sleep or nourishment. Interaction with personnel has shown that the entity is capable of speech and is fluent in English, but prefers to talk in a currently unknown language. It is not openly hostile toward Foundation personnel, yet often refuses to cooperate with interviews and testing. Attempts to restrain SCP-957 for these purposes have proven ineffective due to the entity's disproportionate level of strength. SCP-957 will always reside in a house inhabited by a single human, hereby designated SCP-957-1. When the instance of SCP-957-1 that SCP-957 is living with dies, the entity will demanifest from the location and reappear in the nearest location inhabited by a human. Upon doing this, it will seek out the individual residing there and force the human's body through an apparent portal via its chest cavity, where the subject will remain for approximately 4 hours before emerging. After this, SCP-957-1 will be missing its eyes as well as exhibit drastic changes to its memory. These individuals will believe that they have been blind all of their life and possess knowledge of Braille and living without sight. Additionally, they will believe that SCP-957 is a close family member, a dear friend, or a partner in an intimate relationship that had been severely burned all over its body. As such, they show affection for the entity but refuse to touch it. Once every month, SCP-957-1 will go into crowded areas and feign distress due to its blindness. It appears to do this in order to deceive people into helping it back to its house. Once SCP-957-1 has successfully lured a human subject into the building, it will lock the doors, shout, walk to the dining room, and sit down until SCP-957 addresses it after dealing with the human. At this point, SCP-957 will approach the human, and a black, spherical barrier will surround the 2 subjects. This obstruction is composed of an unknown substance and is apparently impenetrable. This structure usually remains in place for approximately 5 hours. However, it has been noted to demanifest as early as 30 minutes after manifestation and as late as 27 hours after manifestation. The human normally appears to have undergone extreme physical alteration during this time. In 30% of observed cases, the human is reduced to piles of organs seemingly organized by their respective biological system. SCP-957 usually then uses these remains to prepare a meal for SCP-957-1. The other 70% are taken to the fireplace of the house and burned. The Foundation has launched many investigations regarding suspicious activities of SCP-957. On October 16, 2006, SCP-957 was noted to approach a retrieved human during the normal monthly event. The opaque barrier normally surrounding the subjects manifested as usual. However, it was noted to randomly become transparent, yet still present, during this event. Personnel reported that the view from the area showed a scene with a group of entities resembling SCP-957, gathered around a conical object that was mostly obscured by the figures. However, it appeared that the captured human was within the construct, and this continued for approximately 5 hours. At this point, the human, presumably dead, was removed from the object, dismembered, and sorted into piles of organs. At this point, the barrier demanifested and SCP-957, along with the human remains, reappeared within the house. As of March 13, 2007, Foundation linguists have managed to translate enough of SCP-957's language to decipher basic sentences and phrases spoken by the entity. This information is not to be made known to SCP-957, and personnel are to continue to communicate with it solely in English. On June 6, 2008, SCP-957 was noted to engage in an extended conversation in its native language with an unseen individual. The audio from this exchange was recorded by hidden audio and video recording devices within the house, translated by Foundation linguists and transcribed below.
How much longer do I have to stay here? It will be a while, brother. Your disguise is working wonderfully, and your plan is extremely convincing, much better than the old one. And you still get to talk in our language freely, right?
True, true. It is just boring and tiresome down here. No wonder the old one destroyed his body. These physical forms are so painful.
Patience, patience. We have to let them watch the few so that the family can work freely. We will be done with our research soon enough. Do not worry.
Understood.
Excellent. I will speak to you at the next time. Speaking of which, you should create another false scenario again.
Yes, sometime soon. I will see you next time.
Regarding the dialogue above, the Foundation discovered that all current activities of SCP-957 were intended to distract the Foundation. It has a bigger plan, threatening the human existence. Currently, SCP-957 is to be monitored via remote video surveillance set up within the location where it currently resides. Personnel are allowed to approach and interview the entity when given clearance by 4 Level 3 or higher employees. One D-Class subject is to inhabit the closest residence to SCP-957's location as possible in order to maintain civilian exposure to the entity. SCP-957's house is to be monitored for signs of SCP-957-1 exhibiting unusual behavior, namely feigning helplessness due to blindness. If this is observed, a D-Class subject is to be sent to escort SCP-957-1 back into its house. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please subscribe to our channel, press the bell icon, and never miss an update.